So I dropped out of the college in the middle of the first semester, and I did not tell anybody, including my parents, until the end of the semester, and that did not go well at all. But it could also end up being the best decision I ever made. Well, we'll see how this plays out as my life unfolds. In high school, my first goal in life was to become a music producer, so that is why I applied to music school. Kids these days still assume you need to go to college to be successful in life. I always questioned that. But nevertheless, I applied because that's what you're supposed to do. Miraculously, I was accepted to one of the Boston's famous music schools, and they even offered me a partial scholarship. I was thrilled, so I packed up and moved all the way from California to Boston, Massachusetts. College life seemed promising, but after several weeks, everything went sideways. First of all, I've realized that you can actually learn almost everything they were teaching on YouTube. Second of all, I did not get a good vibe from most of the teachers I've encountered. Some of them seemed to be a great educator who actually had a passion for teaching, but most of them had this vibe of, I wanted to be a rock star, but I could not. So guess what I'm doing? I'm teaching to survive, but I don't really like teaching, to be honest. Vibe. I've realized that being a great teacher and being a great musician is a different animal. You need to be dedicated to teaching to be a great teacher. Being a great musician doesn't automatically make you a great teacher. And the tuition. It was so ridiculously expensive that by the time I graduated, I would be in debt by tens of thousands of dollars. And for what? The only good thing I saw was that you get to see other students who are also into music, and that can be great. And I would tell you that if you are fortunate enough that your parents are rich enough to pay the tuition for you, by all means take the advantage. But for me, it did not make any sense. I was ready to start my career full-time. I mean, I didn't have any money, so obviously I needed to get a job to make a living, but I did not see any reason why I had to wait until I graduated to start my career as a music producer. All I needed was a guitar, a computer, and internet access, plus dream, passion, and persistence. I'm trying to be an artist, not a doctor or lawyer. This does not make any sense, paying an obscene amount of money for information I can easily get from YouTube? Why? I've got so angry and depressed. And to make a long story short, 2 months into the first semester, I dropped out. I was able to get some of the tuition money back, but it was not the full amount. In the end, I was left with a couple $1,000s of debt from the first semester's tuition, a computer, and a guitar. I went through an excruciating amount of anxiety. Some nights I could not sleep. But at the end of the day, I've had to determine to make the best out of this situation. Besides, most of the famous graduates from that school were all dropouts anyway. After dropping out of the college, the first thing I did was to move out of the city to find an apartment that was much cheaper. I still had some money left in my bank account, which gave me 3 months to find a job. The first job I had was serving at a Japanese restaurant as a waiter. I applied for every job I could find online. Eventually, I landed the position as a guitar teacher at a local private music school. Then one day, my neighbor said he wanted to take a guitar lesson from me personally, at which point I realized that maybe I could start my own teaching studio myself. I flooded the street with flyers, launched an ads across the web, and I pitched my music lesson to everyone I met, just enough to meet my super minimalist expenses. And the rest is the history. I teach music, write my novel, do some illustration, and started to release music on Spotify, debut as a VTuber, make YouTube videos. I've finally started my career as an artist. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I stuck it out with school and have more of a normal life. But normal is boring. I feel good about starting my artistic career on my terms. It's an extremely hard and extremely risky dream I have. But one thing I am so clear about is that I do not have any regrets. I went for it, and I decided to ignore what people think about me. I am still a starving artist. But listen, the great thing about you watching my YouTube video is that you get to see how I survive as an artist from the front row. You will get to see all my successes and failures, and maybe learn from all the mistakes I make, learn from all the wisdom I get along the way. I don't know, but maybe it will inspire you. My point is, I am a proud college dropout.